Hi everyone, I'm Afton Brazzoni and I'm the founder of Scribe National. I'm here today with Bruce Tannas, who has a really exciting business that I can't wait to share with you all. He's the founder of Connect for Commerce, Canada's preferred marketplace for business, and he's going to tell you all about the different services they offer. So thank you for joining me today, Bruce. And I'd love if you could start off by just telling everybody a bit about yourself and about your company.
Okay, thanks for having me, Afton. I sure appreciate it. So I have been involved with developing and helping entrepreneurs for at least the last 10 years, and I've been a serial entrepreneur for previous 20. So I've been around a little while, and part of that journey has led me to this point where we're launching Connect for Commerce. I could see that there was a need out there for a marketplace for business. Yes, there are other marketplaces out there, Kijiji and other things like that, but there's no place where you can find all the elements needed for a business in one place, along with the ability to find the right experts and a little advice to put that all together to help either start or grow or buy a business or sell a business or what have you. And so that's sort of the idea behind Connect for Commerce. In terms of the mechanics, you could buy or sell equipment, inventory. Sometimes I used to be a retailer. Sometimes you'd end up with some stock that is good stock, but it just won't go in your store. So you don't necessarily want to sell it one piece at a time to people. You might want to sell a whole lot of one particular item. And so that's where, we can come in. You can put your ad on our site. Or perhaps you're considering it's time to retire and you need a little bit of advice, maybe some expertise and the ability to market your business. And we have that on site. Or perhaps you're tired of the rat race and it's time to get into business and you want to learn a little bit about how to buy a business or a franchise or what have you, and also be able to find appropriate business or franchise. And so we're offering those kinds of things. And as I alluded to, we have experts on our website as well, including you. So if you need some help with your content marketing, or you need some help figuring out your legal issues or whatever, you can look up and see on our site some of the experts there, and also get a little bit of advice from our small business blog as well.
Yes, you have a great blog. I would definitely encourage everybody to check that out. I really love how comprehensive what you're offering is. And I think there's a huge need for something like Connect for Commerce, especially nowadays when, there is so much change in the marketplace and people are looking at buying businesses, people are looking at selling them. Which, kind of brings me to my next question. What are some of the common challenges that you see when it comes to starting a new business? And why is it so crucial to address these things?
Okay, well, in terms of starting versus buying, starting is always a little harder than buying, because when you're buying a business, you're getting a built-in market, you're getting a built-up brand and that sort of thing. So starting a business, and I've done it a few times, including this time, you have to start to think about what will be your brand, what is your marketplace, is there a market for what you're looking for? If this is your first time in business, then you need to acquire some business skills. You may already have some, but you need to acquire some business skills. Being an entrepreneur is a little different than being a paycheck person. And I recently, having been on the paycheck for the last 10 years, it's reminded me a few of those differences off the top. But anyway, you have a lot of things that you have to get organized in order to get started with your business. And now, as you alluded to, even more so, the way that marketing is done now is a lot different than it once was, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think everything you said really resonates with me as well. That transition from, the working for a company and then working for yourself. Now, when it comes to, you did allude briefly to buying a business. So what are some of the things, that someone might want to consider if they want to buy an already established business, and, maybe some of the ways that Connect for Commerce might be able to help with that?
So, when you're buying a business, you have to understand what you're buying. Okay, so what you truly should be buying is a proven business system, right? So when you're buying a business, you need to evaluate that system and how it's working. And will it work without the present owner there? And some businesses have become so much about the owner that it's very, very hard to sell that business. It's not a proven business system, it's a proven business person. And what you need to do is buy a proven business system with a market share and those kinds of things. That's step one. Do you have that proven business system? And that's the hardest question to answer, quite frankly. And you need to take the time and do some due diligence on that particular issue. Then other considerations come into play, like assets, training, those kinds of things. And then finally, price. And it should literally be in that order. And I've discussed that in my blog, actually, some of the items that you think you should be considering as you look at purchasing a business and vetting that business. Is that the right business for you? That's another question. You know, it'd be terrible to go into business just because you want to go into business and discover you hate this business, because quite frankly, you're going to be living it for a good long time. So you better like what your activity is going to be, whatever that is. So we have a little bit of advice there. Like I said, we have some experts available on our website, and then finally we have some listings for some businesses that you can look at and see if they're the right ones for you.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice. And some of those things I hadn't even thought of, because nowadays a lot of branding is around the owner. So yeah, that's a really interesting consideration. It kind of makes me think too. So your other customers would often be looking to sell their business. So on that side of things, if somebody is looking to sell for whatever reason, what would you say is really important to know about in terms of getting ready for that? Or again, what are some of the things that they could leverage your website for?
Okay, well, once again, we've got a little bit of advice in terms of getting prepared. In fact, I had a very successful entrepreneur who sold his business give some really, really good advice in our video series. So some of the things that you need to do depends on your time horizon. The farther you are out, the better you are likely going to be. So if you're thinking about it a couple of years in advance, you're probably going to be much more successful than if you're, need to sell tomorrow kind of thing. First thing I would say to anybody thinking of selling in that regard is selling a business is not like selling a house. It takes some forethought in terms of getting yourself ready. So some of the activities you need to think about are, is there any discretionary costs that I can cut, because I need to have a profit in order to sell this business. And you might have to pay some taxes, and that's okay. But if there's no profit, then the person buying the business will not be able to finance business, because I used to also be a lender for small businesses, and no profit means I couldn't lend, because the profit represents the surplus that the business is generating. And if there's no surplus, then there's no way. So that's, look at your cost structure, uh, turn that business system idea around. If you are the business system, then you need to figure out how to systemize your business so it can live without you. So in other words, if you can't go on a 2-week vacation, nobody calls you, and everything works out, then probably that business is pretty much about you. And so if that's the case, you need to start to work towards having empowering some of your employees and looking at making sure that there is some procedures written down and your training is spot on and all those kinds of things. If you're a professional and it's an accountancy or you're a lawyer or what have you, it may be a bit more about you, and there is a way around that. You have a longer transitional period where that junior partner comes on and then becomes the senior partner, and you become the junior partner, and then you leave, and that's a way that accountants and lawyers get around those kinds of things, and others professionals who have personal relationships, they but then it's more like a 2 year out than a normal sale. But for the vast majority of businesses, doing a little bit of prep work up front and having a timeline and realizing that you're not going to sell it overnight. That's the other thing. And finally, having sold my businesses, I've sold several. You want to make sure that whoever the successor is going to carry on. You put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into your business, especially in the early phases, as you know. And so you're going to want to make sure that whoever succeeds you has a passion for the business, has the right skill set, and of course you want to get some money out of the deal as well. So it's not all about the money, but at the end of the day, you need to get paid for what you did, and also look at making sure that there's a chance that the business will carry on as well.
That's fantastic advice. And I really appreciate your expertise on that, because I think, a lot of, well, my audience is both marketers and business owners, but a lot of what I at least hear and talk about in the entrepreneurial world is around that whole phase when you're starting the business. And there's so much around that. I think, it's really helpful to have your perspective on what actually would happen at the phase where, like you said, you have put a lot of work into it and you want to make sure that sale is really successful. So I think, that's fantastic advice. Um, so what I'd love to do, just before we wrap up, is kind of talk about any other resources that you want people to know about that Connect for Commerce can offer, and then kind of what is coming up for Connect for Commerce throughout 2021, and anything people should keep their eye out
Well,
for.
I would suggest that if you're looking to start, grow, buy, sell a business, just keep tuned to our blog. We're going to be doing all kinds of different types of content. We've got a fair content built up on buying and selling, and we'll continue to add to that. But currently, I'm working on budgeting for business. I'm working on uh, I had a good conversation the other day with a business coach about preparing your management team for growth. I had a conversation the other day, and I'm going to write an article on training teams and stuff like that. So I would just suggest, if you're interested in some of these topics, that you sign up to our email and on the site, and stay tuned. In terms of what's next for Connect for Commerce, well, so for the next few months, we're in the launch phase here in Alberta, and we're really trying to get more people interested in our website, and also enlisting in our website. I think by summer we're going to be looking to expand into BC, British Columbia, and Ontario. Having said that, I have several appearances on national blogs and scheduled, so that timeline may get a little bit accelerated depending on what happens with those. But been really pleased with the early uptake. It's early days for the site, but we've had a really good reception with our audience, and it's growing daily. So I'm really pleased about that. So looking forward to growing the business further. And at the end of the day, we're a small business too. So
Yeah, absolutely. So you're living all of these things too, and the advice. And again, like I just want to mention to people, the blog is fantastic. So please, I would encourage you to go check that out. Now, obviously, there is the website you mentioned, the newsletter. Are there any other platforms you'd like people to know about in terms of the best way to connect with you,
Well,
Bruce?
you can follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitter, depending on which way you like to go. I often post to all three. So if you like Facebook, find our Facebook and follow us there. And if you like LinkedIn, go that way. And if you like the Twitter um, platform, then we're also on that as well. So feel free to like and share our posts online on social media as well.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Fantastic advice and perspective here today. So, yeah, I really appreciate your time, Bruce. And I will be back in 2 weeks with another Changemaker interview. So, thanks for watching, everyone. Take care.